a guy. He's rawer. He's younger.
Yep.
He's just not as polished as the other guys in the division. Obviously, when you have someone like Lara with his background,
Sure.
Charlo's been at it and we'll get to that in a second.
Sure.
And I don't want to let the cat out the bag. How did you have that fight going into the when it was stopped?
Sure.
How did you score it?
I probably gave I probably had stopped in the 11th.
Going into the 11th.
Sitting where I sat, and I had a very good visual spot for the fight. I was sitting about 3 rows behind ringside. We stopped in the 11th. I probably had it around 7-4, Jarrett Hurd. I just saw him not only landing cleaner and harder shots on Austin Trout. Let me tell you something about Austin Trout. He was game as shit tonight. I mean, Austin Trout fought his ass off. So nobody should ever disrespect Austin Trout. But, in my opinion, the harder, more flush shots were landed by Jarrett Hurd. And Trout started off the fight on fire. But that road grader ran him over with those hard shots, hard right hands, hard left hooks. And not only that, he figured out how to adjust to the southpaw style. And this is something that I say to Hurd all the time when I interview him. Yeah, he is young, new to boxing. I don't know. He's not somebody I think that started boxing when he was 10 years old.
Right. Not the Olympic pedigree, the international experience as an amateur.
But his learning curve compared to everybody else is like unbelievable. He just picks up things so quickly in the ring. And with his size, his strength, his determination, he's a tough out for anybody in the 154-pound division, in my opinion.
Do you think that long term, and we're getting ready to get into Jermell Charlo, and that looks like the collision that we're all in for.
Or it could be, and we'll get into it later, but Arislani Lara also made it out tonight. But how do you think that Jarrett Hurd would stack up to 154-pounders in the division? Yeah, he is handicapped because he doesn't have that amateur pedigree. He's not the prettiest fighter aesthetically or fundamentally, but he's got that heart, determination, size that I would feel confident that nobody's going to stop Jarrett Hurd easy. Nobody's going to stop Jarrett Hurd without him putting up a good fight. You know what? If you're slipping and you don't have your leg and another conditioning.
Yes.
If you don't have your conditioning up, again, that road grader will run you over. So there's a lot of intangibles that he possesses that he's going to bring to the table. So he's not going to go to sleep in the first round against the other top 154-pounders in the division. And in my opinion, Arislani Lara, Jarrett Hurd, in my opinion, is like 1.5 times the size that he is.
Yes.
And all due respect to the great Cuban, but he's a tough out for anybody, in my opinion.
What can you credit Trout in this fight? Obviously, I felt like his game plan was just to land punches, and he was throwing punches off the back foot. He was moving and throwing punches. He was circling and throwing punches. He just kept constantly touching Jarrett Hurd, as you mentioned. But he didn't have a lot of shot. I mean, he didn't have a lot of power on everything. But it was like, let me just get my hands on you. Is he done at the elite level at 154, or?
That's a great question. There's a lot to be determined because what I saw from Austin Trout early in the fight was very impressive.
Very impressive. Coming off of that inactivity of, 17, 18, 19 months.
Like I said before, you don't beat Miguel Cotto decisively if you're a scrub, right? Let's be honest here. But I think that Jarrett Hurd possesses a great advantage, being that he's somebody who can make 154 pounds comfortably, but he's somebody that actually, in essence, could be a middleweight or even a super middleweight. His frame-wise, he's so strong. Big, strong legs. And that determination and that, more than anything, that mental aspect. Being able to take it like he did against Harrison and he did against Trout tonight and keep going forward and then and putting his will on his opponent is something you don't always see in boxing. And I think, again, that's what stands him out from this competition.
All right, let's move on to the second fight of the night. on the televised portion of the card. You know, I'm sure right now a lot of videos are being posted about Jermell Charlo's first round. I believe it was 2 minutes and 41 seconds was the time on it. But his stoppage of the young upstart in Florida's Erickson Lubin, who in the build-up to this fight said all the things we wanted to hear. We thought we were in for this battle. And the Charlos in Brooklyn are all about pain.
Let me tell you something. If anybody's going to take anything away from Jermell Charlo's victory tonight, you're mistaken. I know Erickson Lubin was only 22 years old, but Erickson Lubin earned that number one Mando position. Erickson Lubin was a star amateur, impressive knockouts. It's time for people to start giving Jermell his credit. Jermell Charlo in Dallas, Texas, every day is sparring Errol Spence Jr. That's not somebody you want to wake up in the morning and look forward to going to the gym and seeing. So when Lubin made a small mistake, just ducking down his head in, Jermell's muscle memory, maybe attributed to sparring a southpaw like Errol Spence, was so dialed in that he caught him with that nasty concussive blow. Jermell Charlo has outstanding fundamentals. Chin tucked in, right hand held high, defensively sound, concussive knockout power. People always said Jermell was the one that didn't have the knockout power. I don't buy that at all. Jermell does what he needs to do to win, like his brother. So people may not like Jermell or Jamal.